8164. The flat layout or blank length of a piece of metal from which a simple L-shaped bracket 3 inches by I inch is to be bent depends upon the radius of the desired bend. The bracket which will require the greatest amount of material is one which has a bend radius of A. 1/8 inch, B. ½ an inch, C. 1/4 inch. The correct answer is A. The flat layout or blank length of a piece of metal depends on the radius of the desired bend. The smaller the bend radius, the greater the amount of material required for the bend. Therefore, the bracket that will require the greatest amount of material is the one with the smallest bend radius. Among the options given, the bend radius of I/8 inch would require the most material. 8165. If it is necessary to compute a bend allowance problem and bend allowance tables are not available, the neutral axis of the bend can be A. Represented by the actual length of the required material for the bend, B. Found by adding, C. Found by subtracting the stock thickness from the bend radius. The correct answer is B. When computing a bend allowance without the aid of bend allowance tables, the neutral axis of the bend can be approximated by adding approximately 1/2 of the stock thickness to the bend radius. This approximation helps determine the correct length of material required for the bend. 8166. Unless otherwise specified, the radius of a bend is the A. Inside radius of the metal being formed, B. Inside radius plus 1/2 the thickness of the metal being formed, C. Radius of the neutral axis plus 1/2 the thickness of the metal being formed. The correct answer is A. When referring to the radius of a bend, unless otherwise specified, it typically refers to the inside radius of the metal being formed. This means that it is the measurement from the center of the bend to the innermost surface of the metal. The inside radius is commonly used to determine the minimum bend radius requirements for various materials and manufacturing processes. 8167. The sharpest bend that can be placed in a piece of metal without critically weakening the part is called the A. Bend allowance, B. Minimum radius of bend, C. Maximum radius of bend. The correct answer is B. The minimum radius of bend refers to the smallest allowable radius that can be used in bending a piece of metal without critically weakening the part. It is determined by the material properties, thickness of the metal, and the manufacturing process being used. Going below the minimum radius of bend can lead to deformation, cracking, or failure of the part, compromising its structural integrity. Therefore, it is important to adhere to the specified minimum radius of bend to ensure the part's strength and functionality. 8168. The most important factors needed to make a flat pattern layout are A. Radius, thickness, and mold line, B. Radius, thickness, and degree of bend, C. The lengths of the legs, flat sections. The correct answer is B. When creating a flat pattern layout, several factors are crucial for accurately developing the required shape. These factors include the radius of the bend, the thickness of the material being bent, and the degree of the bend. The radius determines the curvature of the bend, the thickness affects how the material will behave during bending, and the degree of bend specifies the angle at which the material needs to be formed. By considering these factors and properly calculating the dimensions, a precise flat pattern layout can be achieved, ensuring the accurate fabrication of the desired shape.